Hola, Gustavo, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te ha ido, amigo? That is about all the Spanish I know. So, anyway, Gustavo, this is your very cool brake booster. And we are going to do a test on it right now. And what we've got here is our vacuum hooked up to the test port in the back, which you guys can do anytime that you want. Just hook up vacuum gauge to it. And we got vacuum attached to your check valve right here. And we've got our input hydraulic and our output hydraulic. Here's the bleed screw. You don't need to mess around with this when bleeding the system. And what we're going to do is we've got two sets of instruments here. First is vacuum, and this gauge is going to go up and read whatever vacuum my pump can put out between 17 and 21 inches. And then this vacuum gauge will also go up and read about the same amount. But as the booster is activated, this gauge is going to go to 0, and when it reaches 0, the booster is fully activated or in use. Over here we have input, output, hydraulic, and these two gauges are input, and they're to assume that this is one gauge, and what happens is this gauge goes up, maxes out, this gauge goes up and reads final input pressure, which is a function of my master cylinder, which is essentially just this lever and a little rod that pumps brake fluid into the booster. So this number is not terribly critical, except whatever this number is, we have a multiple of it on this output set of gauges. So this gauge goes up and maxes out to its final pressure. This gauge follows and maxes out to our final output pressure for the booster. And so whatever this number here is, this number over here is going to be a multiple of that number, and that's going to be either 3 or 4 times. This booster is a very, very powerful booster. You can tell because you got this big vacuum can here with this little slave cylinder right here, so you got a very high mechanical advantage. So let's go ahead and spool up the machine. I'll show you what we're talking about here. There's our gauges going up, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to close, this valve is closed, and I'm going to activate the booster by activating my master cylinder. So watch our gauges. Fully activated. We come over here and we'll see all our gauges are maxed out except for this last one, which reads our final output pressure. Now we're going to do it from the hydraulic side. You can see the gauges activate. There we go. We got at least 350 psi in and at least 1200, 1300 out. So you can see it's a very high multiple. And we have 0 on our gauge here. Full vacuum over here. Let's try that again. Upwards of 1200, 13, 1400 psi. Now at the same time we come down here, we check for leaks. Always want to check for leaks right here. This is the leak point. If it's going to leak, it's right here, and it seals up very nicely under pressure. Make sure our fittings here are not leaking, so they are in good condition. Turn the vacuum off, it's very noisy. And also you can listen and you'll hear no hissing, so we got no leaking. And we're good to go. This is a very, very nice booster. It's a very rare booster, and I'm just lucky I was able to rebuild it, and should give you many more years of service, but and I'm hoping to last you another 50 years, because after that I don't think there's going to be parts left for these things. But it's a great booster in the meantime. And thank you very much for sending it to me. Adios.